meeting. We have Susan King excused for today's meeting with Board Member Tony Aguilar joining us a little later tonight. We will now go ahead and entertain a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
I make a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. The board will be reconvening into closed session after the open portion of tonight's meeting. With that, when we do go into closed session, we have a couple of topics that are going to be in that section of the meeting, and we will go ahead and entertain public comment before doing so. So we will now go ahead and move on to information item. Our only information item is the youth project.
Okay, so at your request, we have members of the Youth Project here this evening to share with us information about the new program that they have for our students. Dr. Ruby, was there anything else you wanted to add before they begin?
Thank you for the invitation and the opportunity to come before you. And is this better? Thank you for the opportunity and the invitation to come before you and tell all of you exactly who we are. I hope we're familiar faces. There's a lot of familiar faces in the room. My name is Jeremy Serena, and I serve as the CEO of the Youth Project. I'm a King City native, so being in front of this board does mean a great deal to me. Tonight, I'll introduce who we are, what we deliver, and my colleague, our COO, Trent Salcido, will walk you through the framework that drives our work, and then we'll close it with the impact we're building and what partnership looks like. I'm not sure if you want me to say slide or right behind you. Okay, perfect. So who we are. The Youth Project is a community-rooted nonprofit. We're a 501c3 public charity, and we're built right here in King City. We exist to give young people the space, support, and structure every child deserves. We serve youth from TK through grade 12, ages 5 to 18. And our approach comes down to the idea we coach to teach, not to win. We hold every kid to who they're becoming, not just what happened on any given day. Slide. The Youth Project is not an overnight sensation. We were formed over 2 years ago. We've just recently been formed as a board and separate elected board officers and hired a staff. Slide, please. Our staff, myself as a CEO, Trent Salcido, he is our COO, Josue Flores is our CFO, Jonah Mendez is our program director, Trey Salcido is our HR and operations manager, and Brooke Tidwell is our strategy and operations manager. We've hired 4 coordinators and 30 program delivery specialists, all young people that have grown up here and are proud representatives of this community. Slide. Our board of directors, also deeply rooted in King City. Our chairman is John Knatzer. He's the assistant manager with Salinas Land Company. He's the 7th generation Salinas Valley local. Eric Valadares, our vice chairman, California State administrator. He has an MBA in finance. He's the vice president of King City Little League. Cesar Soto, area sales manager for Kcusd Seed America. He's a King City native and a longtime King City High School football coach. Cheeks did make it. I will add a little comment. There's some pride. There's league champion, I should have said, King City High School Mustangs. Jessica Hanley, secretary. She's the vice president of marketing innovation at F&S Fresh Foods. Nearly 2 decades in produce. She's also a former Ag Woman of the Year. Tom Salcido is the director, 30-plus years in business experience, strategic leadership, planning and operations, and Tyler Salcido, Crown Property Management, King City native, and a Cal Poly graduate. Slide. Our staff, it's very important for us that we provide opportunities for young people to grow into a career that they have the opportunity to give back. Many of our staff, as I look over at them, I coach these kids, and they were recipients of the giving and the receiving, and now they're on the other end of it where they get to give back every single day and make a difference in their community. We're mission driven. You know, our mission and development scaffold is lesson and lesson delivery and practice, safety and supervision. Our staff has gone through extensive training over the last 2 weeks, specifically for dealing with young kids. From social emotional, we had Lauren Soto and Gil come in and do extensive training on not only ADA, but handle with care. Every single one of our staff members has taken and passed or is scheduled to take and pass the paraeducator test in this district. Slide. We've done the nurse training. We've done mandated reporter training, sexual harassment training, and every single one of our staff members is fingerprinted and background checked with LifeScan, DOJ, FBI, and California as required by California law for anyone who's working with students outside of a school teacher or an administrator. So we've taken every precaution we can to make sure that our staff is trained at the highest level possible, specifically to work with kids and impact kids from a social and emotional standpoint, which is very, very important for us. You know, I have had the benefit of coaching high school football for almost 25 years. And one of the most impactful things for me was the football team that we had coming out of COVID. You know, we struggled as a team. And about 4 games into that season, as a coaching staff, we asked our kids if they hung out with each other. And not one of them raised their hand. And it was eye-opening. You know, they had no social skills. They were playing on a football team together and didn't have the skill set to actually build relationships on their team. And I remember the stuff that we did as a coaching staff. You know, we went through and did team building and bonding exercise and took them to movies and did barbecues. And I just asked myself, if we're doing all of this for our football team and we've recognized it, what are other kids getting? They're not getting any of the other support. So there's a passion from not only our board, but from every single one of our staff members who showed up here to make sure that if the King City Union School District wants to know who we are, we're happy to come in and let you know we're from King City. We are King City. We're rooted in King City, and we absolutely are invested in the future of King City. With that said, I'm going to hand off the next slide to Trent, who's going to talk about our programming.
Thank you. How's everyone doing today? All right. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about our program here. So we have 3 pathways for one program to help kids grow and lead and thrive. The first pathway we have is sports. The second one is enrichment. And the third we have is leadership. So sports we use as our classroom for character. It teaches kids to push through, stay coachable, and show up the same whether we're winning or struggling. Enrichment is where curiosity lives. Academics, arts, and social skills with the freedom to try something new and stumble onto a passion. The third pathway we have is leadership. Leadership brings it all full circle. We trust kids with real responsibilities, and our older youth become the mentors who carry our culture to the next group. Slide, please. Here we have our developmental scaffold. Everything we do is grounded in California's quality standards for expanded learning and transformative SEL. Not invented by us, but it's aligned to what the state expects. We see the whole child, their identity, independence, and sense of belonging, not just the activity that's in front of them. We coach to teach, not just to win, holding kids to who they are becoming rather than the mistakes that they make, during the activities. It's all in one framework, one philosophy, 3 stages, and the same principles throughout. As kids grow, the framework is designed to grow with them. Slide, please. So this here is our framework. We have the beginner voice, builder voice, and becoming voice. The beginner is for TK through 3rd, ages 5 to 9. Beginners, feelings, and in the moment experiences with safety and trust first. For the builder voice, kids start to make choices and seeing their impact. Self-reflection begins at this stage. In the becoming voice, the focus turns to identity and the future. So we hand them real ownership. The big idea is not 3 curricula, but one set of principles spoken in age-appropriate language. Slide, please. So what every lesson lives inside, and these are our 4 pillars. Our 4 pillars are, well, the first one's belonging and relationships. The second, we have well-being and resilience. Third is skill building and growth. And that's followed with the 4th one, leadership and contribution. Belonging and relationship, we're trying to build a safe space, or safe and welcoming spaces for the kids to come play and participate in our activities. Nothing works until the kids feel like they belong. Well-being and resilience, caring for body, mind, and emotions, and handling stress in a healthy way. We want the kids to view challenges as responsibilities. Next, we have our skill building and growth. These are where kids will develop the real skills like reading and math and sports fundamentals like teamwork, communication, as well as the arts that help them build and focus through effort and mastery. Our 4th one, we have leadership and contribution. This is where kids develop their voice, initiative, and impact. This is where we see a shift from receiving to them giving back. All 4 pillars are always present in all of our lessons. It could involve multiple of them at a time as well. Slide, please. So we have the same standard in every voice. We have perseverance, belonging, and contribution, self-awareness, responsibility, and curiosity. These are our 5 principles. These are attached to all of our programs. You're not going to see one of our programs or one of our lessons being presented without having one of these attached to it. The only thing that kind of changes is the way we deliver that, whether it's our becoming, builder, and beginner voices would be the only thing that changes. Slide, please. So this is an example of how one principle is used throughout those 3 voices. The example we have here is perseverance. And so for the beginner stage, which is our TK through 3rd graders, the language that we would use is I can keep going. It's something that's simple, something easy for the younger kids to understand. An example of what we'd expect our coaches to let those kids know or to talk to them about is, you're still trying, that's what matters. And then the daily practice for that day for that group would be one more try. Next, we have an example for our builder voice. Effort is a muscle. What did you do today that you'll do again tomorrow? So this is focusing on the positive things that the kids do throughout the lesson. We want them to realize that, this is what was working. And then they also identify the things that weren't working for them as well. So then we can kind of stick away from those. And the daily lesson or the daily practice is try a new strategy before you stop. Just because something gets tough doesn't mean you give up. There's probably another way that you can do it to succeed. And that gets us to our becoming voice. The process is the point. To me, this means, you're really kind of loving the practice part of it. The results isn't the main thing that you're worried about. It's more of, the process and, the repetition, the hardships that you go to get to that point. It's really kind of falling in love with that rather than the outcome. Next slide. So our program is built to fit the standards that we are held to. So our 4 pillars, they align with the California Quality Standards for Expanded Learning. Our principles are California Transformative SEL, and then our daily practices are observable behaviors and lesson plans. So we've worked really hard on aligning all of our, practices to meet, certain standards to make sure that everyone's getting the quality lesson, that they deserve, as well as having fun and, being safe while doing it.
Slide, please. So I think the biggest thing that we want to showcase to you as a board is first, we want to thank you for the trust. As as Trent just went through the program to show you exactly what's in our curriculum and what our makeup is, we take a lot of pride in being invested in this community, and we thank you for the opportunity to program with your kids over the course of the summer. This is not new for Trent and I. as former employees of the First Tee, we were able to work with the school district last summer and build an incredible program. Slide, please. We're, as Trent hit, we're aligned to the California quality standards for expanded learning and California Transformative SEL. We are not only an ELOP program, and that's another thing that we want to make sure that people understand. And that's one thing that I want to make sure that we could say today. Yes, ELOP is a portion of what we want to do, and we look at ourselves as a partner with the school district as a partner who can build very deep and enriching programs. It's very important to Trent and I and our staff that each and every one of the kids that go to the school district have an opportunity to see other things outside their neighborhood. We want to make dreams come alive, and we believe that our curriculum allows for the basis and the foundation of that. We want to reach every single kid in the district. We want to give them every opportunity to be successful. And there's a whole bunch of people over here to my right that are very vested as young mentors to show them that they also were in their shoes at one period of time. It's very cool whenever Dr. Ruby does come by, the first thing that she does is she starts naming off her former students, right? It's the point that I may be driving home a little bit emphatically, but I do want to make sure that everybody understands this is something that everybody that's involved with our organization is passionate about. And we're passionate about being from King City and passionate about impacting our community. Slide, please. One of the things, like I said, I've coached for a very long time. And one of the things that I've noticed, for a while driving home is, there's a cute little sign, I can't quote it, but it's, basically saying that let coaches coach, let umpires umpire, and you be a parent, right? And one of the things that's happened with athletics and competitive athletics is parents have overtaken the opportunity for kids to be kids. And what you will see with our program is we're actually having a very interesting conversation about the social and emotional part of it. And, when we had the SEL training, I had a conversation after that with an individual that wanted to make sure we did some extra stuff outside of our day and add, that, wouldn't be part of our curriculum. And I was pretty adamant. The whole point of our program is that you shouldn't see those things. They're in them. They're seamless. It's a place for kids to come and be themselves and then obtain some skill, some process. We're very interested to also see if we could work with the district to see if we could track the cohort of kids that is involved in our program over the summer and what that looks like from an educational standpoint as to kids who were not a part of the cohort is there a difference in attendance? Is there a difference in tardiness? Is there a difference in overall, education with them as they integrate back into school? Kids who have been proactive and have been learning and having fun and playing and learning things over the summer, is there a difference? And is there a benefit to that? Slide, please. Thank you very much for inviting us. We were excited at the opportunity to be able to come in and showcase ourselves. This is an organization that, like I said, it's been built by local people. It's something that we're very, very proud of. And, if there's any questions that we can answer, we would love to do that. I'm not sure how that process works in a study session. The last thing that I want to say is we would also like to ask the board to consider an amendment to our current agreement. Our contract was for 275 students. The 275 students with a 10% automatic trigger built in to 302 kids. Currently, I'm gonna have to look over at Brooke for the active number, but I believe we're at 380 students in your district that are signed up. So we have approximately 78 students on a waiting list. And we'd like to ask for a simple amendment to that contract to take that to 400 students. For the enrollment, so we can take the kids off the wait list. Two words that Trent and I do not like and have never liked when it comes to programs is wait list. So hopefully that's something that you guys can consider, and we could bump the ceiling and make sure that before we start Monday, we can notify those parents. Just full disclosure, the parents after the 302nd child, those parents have received an email that their kids are registered. They are receiving the communication as every other parent is, but that original communication they got says that we're working with the district to expand capacity, and pending that decision, we'll let them know if they are actually in the camp or not. So with that said, I'd just like to ask the board to consider, an amendment that we can put forward. I think we have it. If it's something part of your process you could do tonight, but that's something that we would graciously request for that to be considered and moved.
Thank you. So as a board study session, you will be able to have a dialogue. Sorry, Trustee Paramo. Dr. Ruby, that's what next week's amendment is. Okay, so there you go. So the amendment that was mentioned is a part of the agenda for next week.
So we could go ahead and open it up for any questions or comments from either audience and or board. So is there any feedback from the board right now?
Hi, good evening or good afternoon. I've lost track of time already. It's been a long day. I'm assuming you said that you had 30 specialists slash teachers slash, these are the ones that are going to be running the programs within it. How many students per specialist?
So we are staffed and equipped to handle up to 400 students at the required ratios, which is TK through first at the 1-to-10 ratio, and then all other students at a 1-to-20 ratio. We even go a little bit further than that, and we're equipped to handle the additional students at 1-to-15.
So you do have the appropriate staffing to
Correct.
get more children.
We also had over 195 people apply for positions with us, so we are in a position to extend our staff pretty rapidly if need be.
And the current staff that you have right now, all of them have been live scanned?
Every single one of them, yes.
Are you looking into, I know you're just starting off, but are you looking to expand this program or you're solely going to be staying for summer?
We are
It doesn't
looking
have to be
to,
this year, but.
we
you
are
to
looking
expand?
to expand the program, yes.
Sorry, I made different notes in different pages as you were going on. So.
I have 0 other places to be. I promise you. You can take your time.
One thing I did, if it could be added, just make note to self, 'cause I know we will have new administration. I would like for the youth project to be put in our August timeframe meetings, so we can discuss on how the program went for this first summer going around. How many kids that were enrolled, in fact, stayed within the program itself through the end. So what was the beginning numbers, and we can talk offline about that. But I would like for them to come back in the August timeframe. That way, if you can provide pictures, et cetera, just as how the program went for this first time around that we're running it. Not to self new, yeah, how you're writing it down, okay. Let's see. That's all I have for right now in my notes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I was also gonna just ask about the expansion, if you did, if we did amend the contract, if you had the ability to also have it with your staffing. I guess to add on to the bringing it back in August, I would also want to know, like, what were the issues that you did run into and like some of the future, proactiveness in resolving future issues with that. So
I did have that in my notes, but that's why I want to talk to her offline so we could draft out what we would like to see when it comes to August. I did find another note, sorry, real quick. Due to the situations that we had today, which a lot of the community members already know, as part of the training, do they also have the training in regards to what to do in regards to lockdown, shelter in place, point of contacts, et cetera? Because it can happen, especially now during the summer program as well. So was that part of their training or is that something else? coming
Active
up?
shooter threat assessment, et cetera, yes.
Okay, so they know where they're gonna meet, et cetera, for lockdowns and all that. Okay.
is there anyone in the audience wishing to make any statements, comments, or ask questions? Thank you for joining us. We don't have a full board here tonight, but I'm sure that they'll be able to go ahead and pick up on the information that was provided, and we have your contact information if need be, but thank you for joining us and providing the information to the board. We really appreciate the time and the effort that you guys are making to also be partnership with the district and to provide services to our students. So thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here and showcase it, and I hope you'll excuse us when we mass exodus with a whole bunch of people out of your meeting.
We're used to it.
Thank you.
Yes, administrators, go say hi while you can and then
Let's
have a
say,
seat.
We're lots of former students here walking out. Trent and Tyler were two of mine way back in my ancient ages.
We will now go ahead and move on to our public hearing of the LCAP.
Okay, we can tell that the community loves our LCAT presentations. So Sean, if you would like to get that fired up here.
You know, all that just reminds us of how old we're getting. Just-
How old we're getting? Yes. Oh, tell me about it. Whew. So this evening, we're here for our annual presentation of the end of the year LCAP annual update. And so this is just the annual update for 25-26 to our larger 3-year LCAP. So next spring, you will hear about the brand new 3-year plan as you enter into year 3 in 26-27. We shared a lot of information back in February with you. So this end of the year is a much broader overview and not as in-depth. So Mrs. Carr and Mrs. Pantaleon and Dr. Ruby all have information to share. And I believe it's 131 pages of LCAP are attached there for your midnight reading. And I will let you take it away, Mrs. Carr.
You go to the next slide. Okay, our LCAP includes 8 goals supported by various actions. Goal 1 focuses on the programs, services, and personnel that provide what we refer to as our core program for all students, regardless of site, grade level, or specific needs. On this slide, you'll see the actual written out goal as well as our budgeted expenditures and actual expenditures for the 25-26 school year. Now I'm going to give you a minute because I'm not going to read everything on that slide. So I'm going to let you scan at it and then I'll just start talking about some of the things that I feel are standouts for our successes. Some of our successes that are listed on this slide, I would like to highlight. One being we are fully staffed in all teaching positions, and we have completed the implementation of standards-based learning in math and started the work for our standards-based learning with English language arts. Facility-wise, KCAM's construction is complete, and Santa Lucia is planned to start in this next school year. Next slide. Some of the challenges that we have faced related to Goal 1 are staffing shortages, specifically in special education, as it pertains to support services like speech and language pathology, continue to be a problem. We have had to hire some remote SLPs. In regards to facilities, the slow process through the state for new facilities is reflected in the lack of an actual start date for the work at Santa Lucia. And we don't have any changes to Goal 1.
Our second goal for our LCAP is all about our English language learners. You can see there the budgeted expenses and the actuals. Next slide, please. We've had a lot of successes in this area of Goal 2, including our ELD TOSAs, our newcomers, training that happens for our newcomer paraeducators, our implementation of Summit K-12 at CPMS, our dual language immersion program that is fully being implemented, TK through first, a focused DLAC in which every meeting we are going over every domain, teaching parents how to incorporate strategies with their students. And I would just like to shout out Josefina's child reclassified from CPMS. She is so excited. And they have requested that we continue to teach our families. You're going to see there some pending reclassification totals. It says 231, but I want to be very clear with you. In the fall, we had 21 students classified as initially fluent. We also had some students in the fall reclassify. There were 32 of them. And super thankful to our VPs here in the room who have been helping to reclassify our students, because this summative LPAC, we had 178 students meet the criteria, the primary criteria, receiving a level 4 on the LPAC. So if you add all of that up, we potentially could have 231 students. Next slide. When it comes to challenges with our English language learners, we continue to try to figure out quality tools to assess our English learners' progress throughout the year, as opposed to relying on one single measure with the LPAC. The other thing is trying to differentiate our instruction for English language learners district-wide. If you take a look at that information, your mind's probably going, I wonder why this happened, or I wonder why the numbers are the way they are. And so for next year, we're going to have more focus on English language development and trying to figure out, working closely with our folks at CPMS, because our elementary newcomer program is very different than our middle school newcomer program. So we're trying to find ways to ensure that any newcomer, no matter the grade level, they have the support that they need.
Okay, goal 3 is our goal that is centered around increasing the proficiency of students who struggle in English language arts and math. And up there you'll see our budgeted expenditures and estimated actuals for goal 3. Next slide. So looking at our successes in goal 3, you'll see that they're listed here. We have our walk to learn model that is continued at all 3 elementary sites. Within our 95% group intervention, I want to point out that we also added the 95% phonics PLL 2.0 program as additional intervention support at 2 of our elementary sites, with the intention of adding the 3rd site, KCAM, for next year. Also, what I would like to point out, along with some of those other PD that we have listed up there for our teachers, is that we have provided integrated and designated ELD professional development to our middle school staff throughout this year to help support our English language learners in their general education classes. Some challenges that we have faced with implementation of Goal 3 are scheduling and coordinating services to support a larger number of students. For example, our math tutors. We've had difficulty with hiring the full staffing that we had allocated for at each school site, with 2 sites getting 2 tutors each, but at different times throughout the year. And then our 3rd site never was able to hire their 2nd tutor, which made it difficult to be able to serve all the students that we wanted to. Also, determining the appropriate training to provide to our teachers when we have so many newer teachers alongside veteran teachers, being able to determine what's the best way to present information that won't be redundant to some, while we don't want to go over the top of the heads of the newer teachers. Next slide. So looking at that, we have some changes that we want to make to Goal 3 for this last year of our LCAP. We want to create a more structured schedule for the 4th and 5th grade math tutor supports with our para-educators. And we're going to be changing the AmeriCorps math tutors to serve K through 3 due to a rather large price increase that was happening with the AmeriCorps tutoring. So we decided to keep the focus on K3 since we have our math para support for 4-5. We're also adding designated Tier 1 math intervention time during the instructional day that will be specifically focused around small group instruction and more individualized student needs around grade level standards. And we will be providing support and professional development to the teachers on how best to organize that time. And then additionally, we will be changing the use of the IABs to using the iReady Strand Report data for metrics 3.4 and 3.5 under this goal to utilize more consistent and accurate data. So basically what we learned was that the IABs are administered differently at each school site, which kind of led to a little bit of inconsistency with the data that made it feel not as accurate as it would be. So what we discovered is that there's actually strand reports within iReady that report the same performance abilities, but more consistently through the iReady diagnostic report. So that way we're not having to double test students, but we're still able to get the same information. Next slide.
Okay, so for goal 4, this is our social emotional goal. Next slide. So we've had successes throughout this goal. They are slow but steady. We do continue to decrease in our chronic absenteeism, and we continue to decrease in our suspensions. We have added we started working with conscious discipline this year, and our teachers have gotten some training. They have expressed interest. Our site administrators went to training last summer. They came back and they were able to share with their staff. And we are providing more and more supports for students. Just last week, we received a small but exciting amount of money from MCOE to build on our student wellness. And so we have worked together to put some lists and put some things out for our students. So we're building slowly but surely. Next slide, please. Our challenges, of course, are that we still have our chronic absentee rate is still much higher than pre-COVID years. It was at 10.8, and we landed at 17%. So we're still working to decrease, but we have pockets of students at different school sites that have really, the decrease has been significant. We had a 20% decrease in our students with disabilities at Kcusd. We ended up having huge decreases at Shalom Peaks as well. And just overall, it is dropping. It's just taking time. Our assistant principals have been spending a lot of time educating our parents, giving them data, talking to them about what daily attendance really is, how it benefits our students, how it builds on their reading levels, their math levels, and how it affects when they're gone. And so that educating the parents, working with the students, and then also meeting social emotional needs, I believe is what's creating that steady decrease. Next slide, please. Changes. So one of the things that we are looking at is increasing staffing, looking at hiring an LMFT, which we'll be bringing to you for approval, and having our own shifting away from the programs that we've been having over the years, and hiring our own staff to fill in those spaces, and we can create our own programs around our students. It increases caseloads and allows for improvement in programming and services that are specific to our students, not someone else's program that we're bringing in. It's something that we've been working towards, and as the cost of the programs has increased, we've gotten to the level now where it's really kind of at that equal point of hiring our own staff. And so that's, of course, more beneficial for our students. Goal 5, our after-school expanded learning. So this is our expanded learning opportunities program, ACES 21st Century, all in one. We've had significant growth over the last year as we've presented. I won't go too deep in because we have presented about this a lot this year, but I do want to, next slide. I do want to just highlight that our teacher-led clubs have increased significantly. Our paraeducators have become more involved in the clubs as well. We have expanded the hours of our teacher-led clubs for the first time. And then, of course, as you just heard, the Youth Project, First Tee, Pro Youth, all of those programs have led to a significant increase in student participation during our intercession and into the later hours of the day. Our summer programming last year saw a 248% increase for elementary and a 464% increase for middle school. So these are very significant numbers. Next slide. Challenges. So we have, you've heard these recently as well, but we do have a need for staffing increases in various capacities. We do have staff that would like to teach on Saturdays, so that's something that we are still working on. We would like to offer clubs that do go all the way until 6. So that's just increasing more staffing that, of teachers that may want to stay a little longer, and just working with them on different programs that we may be able to offer. But we're meeting a lot of students, but there's a whole lot more that are not participating. And so looking for student voice, trying to find out what it is that these students that are not participating would like, so that we can make sure that we're offering for all students. Next slide. Goal 6, family engagement. Go ahead and go to the next slide. We've had significant increases in our attendance for our parent education opportunities. These are all of the opportunities that we offered this year. Opening doors, we ended up doing 2 sessions. We had the fall, and then we also offered the spring. And that is a beloved class by our liaisons and Anna Alvarez, who will be missing a lot next year. When we go through those programs, our families really do enjoy this opportunity. It's for our 0 to 5-year-old parents. So parents of our youngest students, it really does set a foundation and gives them some skills to be able to support their children from the very start. Our FLI, we just finished our 3rd FLI this year. We had, again, significant increases. We tried an evening session this year. It wasn't as, it wasn't as largely attended as we had hoped, but we still had about 37, which was just under our fall and spring daytime classes. Our large family events, Dia de los Muertos, Las Posadas, our carnival, Dia del Niño, those just seem to be increasing with each event. So our last one, we had a first, we ran out of tickets, which we've never done before. So there were 1,500 tickets. So we will plan for that for next year. Scholar System has been a huge part of our family series that we've offered over the last couple of years. Our parents really enjoy that, and our numbers went up or increased significantly as well. Jump into English. We had we set our number, we contracted out, and we needed a little assistance from ELOP to add to that, because we had a huge interest to be able to increase those numbers. So very exciting things happening in that world. Next slide. Challenges, just ensuring we're reaching all of our families. It does not matter how many families we have attending. It doesn't matter how much we put it out on paper and through Parent Square. We're always hearing, oh, we need family education. We need, more classes for parents. And there's always people who don't know that we're offering these things. So just still looking for ways to improve our outreach. Next slide. Oh, did I miss challenges? Or no, changes. We have a family resource center. Hey. So we're very excited for next year that we have our family resource center starting. Our liaison team put together all the lists of wants. MCOE bought them all for us. And MOTF is helping us to get the room nice and pretty and comfortable for our families. We're very excited for this next opportunity to be able to reach out to families and be able to share resources, offer some privacy, some dignity to when we have families that need to ask for and get assistance with various things. Doing that in a busy school office is not exactly the most comfortable place to have those conversations. And so this will allow for our liaisons to really help our families and for us to partner with our community partners who want some space to help with referrals and things of that nature.
Our LCAP Goal 7 is all about our dual language immersion program. There you can see the budgeted and the actuals. Next slide, please. We've had many successes with our dual language immersion program. One being that we are at or near capacity in all classes. Through the help and support of the site admin team, M&M, they have had ongoing DLI collaboration, and it's time where they really feel like they can talk to each other and lean into each other and learn from one another. So we're excited for that to continue. Our DLI paraeducators have been part of our trainings this year with Ana Alvarez. We have continued our partnership with ATDLE and hope to continue again. You'll see it on next week's board agenda. A DLI preparatory guide was created this year and offered to our families before winter break. The goal is to offer this to our families earlier on in the year. Our DLI Parent Cultural Committee has just continued to grow, and because of their support of the school and being a part of our community, we've had to have less DLI enrollment meetings this year because now the word is out. And happy to share that we're at capacity for TK and K enrollments for next year. Some challenges that we face is sufficient certified staffing for our expansion. This year, we started searching for our second grade additions to our program, I want to say in February, and we're still looking for one more. So not only is it a classroom teacher, but ensuring that our students who are in the DLI program can also have intervention. So that's something that we've been working on to ensure that their intervention is in our target language of Spanish. Our changes, we are expanding to second grade. And as you recall from January, I shared with you that our kinder and first grade staff members had the opportunity to work with B-Readers, that Spanish online library. I have an update for you in next week's board, in my board report. Long story short, it seemed to be too much for students, for our younger learners. So we worked with Patricio Palma and the CEO of B-Readers. They're going to offer us the pilot again next year, hoping that it might be more age appropriate and user friendly for our second graders. The other change is that we're trying to find a way to mesh our DLI Cultural Parent Committee with our PTO so that we can be more impactful and showcase at each of our district events. So stay tuned. Thank you.
Okay, goal 8 is basically our goal that is directly connected to goals 1 through 7. We're showing that students' needs will be met with the allocation of federal funds. And this is to help us to meet our LCAP priorities. And it shows the adjusted actuals and I'm saying that backwards. The budgeted and estimated actuals for the funding. And next slide.
Okay, so real quick before next steps, I did just sign an offer letter today for the other second grade DLI teacher. So we're optimistic there. So next steps, obviously we'll review the feedback we received this evening and make any updates that might be needed, as well as we need to add our end of the year data. We always have this presentation before the year officially ends. So there's always data to add by the end of June. It will be on your agenda next week for approval, and then following that, we're required to send the document to MCOE for their review and approval. So we are ready for any questions or comments that you may have for us.
Just really quick, because I wasn't sure if it was a typo. But for goal 6, it said that your budgeted was 10,000, but yet your actual was 135,000. So, right, but just to make sure that that is correct. Miss Betty,
Yes, that is correct, because the 10,000, this is, I think, our second year, right, with parent engagement. So that 10,000 was just from general fund, so unrestricted general fund. As we use, the reason why there's such a discrepancy there, or difference there, is because a lot of like the things that we did with FLI, Consuelo, were things that came up or that parents wanted, or something that we decided to do during the school year. And so we were able to use restricted funds or categorical funding to pay for those services. So that we added additional of like parent engagement. We had additional parent engagement expenses throughout the year.
okay, but we're pulling from different buckets.
Correct.
Just because I don't know
Most of
if you all saw me writing, but I was just looking at those discrepancies and it's like, why are we so?
Yeah,
okay,
because
so-
when we, budget is, it's an educated estimate. We
It's
think
another
it's gonna
beast, yeah.
happen, right? So,
Yes.
as things happen, as the year go on, we saw that need, and so we were able to pay for those services, with categorical restricted dollars.
Thank you. Weren't prepared for that, were you, Betty? Just kidding.
I'll ask something. For the LPAC reclassification, what are the students required to, so they have to get a 4, but is there something else they have to get, like the iReady diagnostic in order to be
Yeah,
reclassified?
so what's really interesting is that in the state of California, every district has different local indicators. So for us, we know that primary criteria is LPAC score of a 4. Here in King City, we also have a Lexile at or above their grade level and a writing sample. They have the parent meeting, and the teacher is essentially sharing if they believe that the student should be reclassified. So at this time, we are really excited for an Assembly Bill AB 2555 that is at the final stages, where a family in California basically said, if I'm in this district, I just have to do iReady at or above grade level. But if I'm in this district, I have to do all of these other things to prove that my child has reclassified. So hoping by the end of this month, it'll be approved. And essentially, AB 2555 states that once a child in the state of California has received a 4 on the LPAC, they automatically reclassify without any other local indicator. So it is more difficult to reclassify here in our district, but we're really hopeful that this passes in the summer. And I don't know if I answered your question.
No, you did.
I did? Okay, great.
Yeah, because in Greenfield, they changed it to if they get a report, on the report card, a 2 or higher, plus the 4 on the OPEC. they
Like a
get to
2
reclassify.
in like their English language
the
arts
report cards.
score? Okay. Yeah, so it's, you could move town to town and that criteria is different. So you could be so close somewhere, move, and all of a sudden you are trying to write, and the teachers have to grade every single piece of writing on a writing rubric. So we're looking forward to the change.
Thank you.
Of course.
It's the end of the school year, so I'm gonna be nice. And I will reach out to you guys individually if need be. But thank you. Is there any other questions or comments from any of the members of the audience? No? Okay, we will move on to our public hearing for the 2025-2026 budget.
Similar to the LCAP, we're required to have a public hearing prior to our budget adoption as well. So Betty is going to be giving you a brief overview of next year's budget.
So here in front of you is a quick overview of what the budget will look like for 26-27. Okay, go to the next slide. Fairly simple, to the point. We're going to look at we're looking at the general fund. We're looking at assumptions, the revenue, expenditures, and what our ending fund balance will look like. I'm going to focus on this slide on the 26-27 school year. We do see a COLA of 2.87%. The other thing to notice and to take into consideration is the special education also received a COLA this year. That is exciting news, actually. We are really excited. We hope this continues in out years. This has not happened in forever. Yeah, it's been a long time. So this is significant. Yeah, very, very significant. So we're really excited about that. As you can tell, like our benefit rates for STIRS have stayed pretty consistent and will continue to stay consistent at 19.1. When you're looking at PERS, we are at 26. The rate will be 26.4%, and there is a slight increase with a slight decrease as well at out years. Let me think. What else? Let me see. That's it for that slide. Next slide. Okay, revenue. Our overall revenue that we project is 55.2 million. Out of that, 40 million is from the LCFF. Is our base grant, and 1.8 million is our federal funding. We're looking at other state. It's 8.8 million, and you're talking about ELOP, AMIM, let me think what else. The new grants, learning LREBG. So those are the types of funding that you're looking at other state. And then you have 4.5 million for our other local funding. That could be interest, local revenue coming in, and so forth. Next slide. So our expenditures, most of our 76% of our expenditures are salaries and benefits, and this is fairly normal in a school district. Most of our money goes into paying salaries and benefits, and just about 24% is for supplies and other services and other expenses. So overall, for our total revenue or resources coming in, you're looking at 55.2 million. With that, you're also looking at a total expenditure of 58 million, which creates a net deficit spending of negative 2.8 million. And that's what we call a net deficit spending. When you're looking at beginning balance and after our revenue coming in for the year and our expenditures, we do still have an ending fund balance of a positive ending fund balance of 21 million. Out of that 21 million, it's broken down to $10,000 of non-spendable assets. This is our petty cash revolving fund. You're also looking at out of that 21 million, 16.8 million is restricted funding, so what I call categorical, and the rest of 4.2 million is our unrestricted general fund. Okay. And that is it, short and to the point.
Questions or comments?
In regards to services, when we're looking at the expenditures, again, I'm not in school, right? Services could also mean what they were talking about in regards to your more social, emotional needs, stuff that you need to get for your kids and all that. Like that has increased, unfortunately, throughout the years. So it's just ensuring that we do, as we see these, or we track the increase that we have in this particular areas, just to ensure we're allocating, unfortunately, but we have to, the funding over to those specific areas. I don't think It's sad to say, but I don't think that would be decreasing so much as I feel it's going to be going the opposite direction when it comes to services that are being rendered.
So next year, we will begin participating in the state initiative, the CYBHI initiative. So that's the California, or the Children, Youth, Behavioral Health Initiative that the state has put in, and it works with insurance. And so we will actually be able to bill for the services that we provide students within mental health and behavioral health areas. So that will help, but slightly from what we see on the pay schedule.
It's always planning for the unexpected when it comes to expenditures as well, having a little cushion and when something happens that, but we've seen a pattern throughout the years that we end up in a positive note at the end of the years during an audit actuals. So.
Any other questions or comments? No? Thank you, Betty, for all your hard work. All right, with no further input, we will go ahead and close the public hearing, 7:02, and we'll go ahead and move into our action items. Our first action item is approval of facilities lease agreement with Crown Property Management. And I'm just gonna put that out there since we don't have our full board, and I know that this was something that kind of piqued the interest of everybody else. If need be, we might have to push this to our next board meeting based on a vote. If saying there's 3 of us here tonight, so, but we'll go ahead and open it up for action item A.
So I just correct me if I misunderstood you. Are you going to want to pull this to the next meeting?
I know that when Tony was present in the past, I know that this was something that was part of his, interest as well. So I'm not sure if it would be best for us to hold it so that we have a more complete board, unless you want to move forward with the presentation and the vote tonight. But that's where I'm just trying to be mindful of everybody else.
I was going to ask to have it moved.
We'd like to have it moved.
Thank you for the clarification.
So being that we will go ahead and move action item A out for the next regular board meeting, we will go ahead and move on to action item B, approval of agreement with Franklin Covey Summer School Curriculum.
This is just for leadership, the summer leadership program materials. They used them last year at middle school, and Victoria Lopez is the teacher and she enjoyed them, so she's asking for them again.
Is there any questions or comments from the board and or audience? Having none, I'll bring it back to the board.
I move that we accept action item B, approval of agreement with Franklin Covey Summer School Curriculum.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to action item C, approval of educational achievement services for the SLIC program.
This is Consuelo Kickbush's program for students. It's a leadership program. It will last for it'll be the whole first week of summer school. Again, it's Victoria Lopez's summer school leadership class. We have spaces for about 50 students. And so I ask for your approval on this program so that we can bring it to our students.
Is there any questions or comments from the audience and or board? I just wanted to go ahead and touch on the SLIC program. Terry, you were talking about like getting more involvement with families and whatnot. So I think that the SLIC program might help bring in different kinds of families, because I believe that what we're planning on doing for the upcoming year is also tying the FLI with the parents that would be, that the students would be part of the SLIC program. So they would be going hand in hand. So That's kind of like of a new twist that our
You had talked
approach.
about before about merging or meshing before.
Yeah, so anyway, that's what that is, but I just wanted to act like I know more than you for once. No. So I'll go ahead and bring it back to the board. Oh, go ahead.
Found a lot of benefit in the activities that they participated in and learned from, and it did carry over into this year. So conversations we had with you did see that leadership piece come out from them, and so I think it's really beneficial to continue that on our campus, especially since the growth.
I agree, and I think that we even talked about her possibly putting something together for the smaller grade levels. So yeah, I agree. Thank you for sharing.
Okay, I move that we accept action item C as presented, approval of educational achievement services for the SLIC program.
I second. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving on to action item D, approval of 3% on scheduled salary increase for unrepresented management, confidential staff, retroactive to July 1st, 2025, and public disclosure. Joni.
So we are seeking authority on providing a 3% increase to the salary schedules for our unrepresented groups, which are certificated management, classified management, and our confidential staff who work here in the district office. This amount is consistent with the same amounts that that we have TA'd with previously with KCTA, and we'll discuss with you where we're at with classified negotiations in closed session. But we're now recommending that you approve this amount for our unrepresented groups.
Any questions or comments from the board and or audience? Having none, I'll bring it back to the board.
Move that we accept action item D, approval of 3% on salary schedule increase for unrepresented management.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we will go ahead and move on to our public comment for closed session items. Is there any members of the audience wishing to make any public comments regarding any of the items for closed session?
With Arlen and our negotiation team, we wanted to thank you guys for meeting with us again today. And we came to a conclusion, we signed, so we just wanted to thank the district and the board. So thank you.
Is there any other members of the audience wishing to make any public comments? Having no further public comment, we will go ahead and close that section of the meeting, and the board will now go ahead and go into closed session. Thank you.